So when you hear the word war, what comes to mind? You probably picture tanks, soldiers, trenches, right? But what if I told you that whole picture is, well, it's out of date. The very nature of conflict has been turned on its head. Today, we're going to break down what war really looks like right now. And trust me, it's being fought in ways that would have sounded like science fiction just a decade ago. Seriously, just take a second and think about that. What is a modern battlefield? Is it even a physical place anymore? Because as we're about to see, the new front lines are literally everywhere. From the phone in your hand to the satellites silently orbiting thousands of miles above our heads. Okay, let's just dive right in with this because it says so much. To get a feel for the new math of warfare, you just have to look at these two numbers. In the past, you needed a $5 million beast of a tank. Today, a $20,000 drone, sometimes it's literally just a commercial drone you can buy online with a grenade taped to it, can take that same exact tank out. This isn't just about saving money, it's a complete upending of who can wield military power. So our first pillar is what I like to call the invisible battlefield. This is where some of the most important battles are being won and lost, and you can't see any of it. It's happening in the ones and zeros of cyberspace and in the cold vacuum of outer space. It all kicks off with cyberwarfare. And let's be clear, this isn't just about hacking emails anymore. We are talking about shutting down entire power grids, freezing financial markets, and even causing real physical destruction with a few lines of code. It's war, just fought through a keyboard. And if you think this is some small niche problem, get a load of this number. $8 trillion. That's the estimated cost of cybercrime to the global economy every single year. This goes way beyond a corporate issue. It's a massive national security threat that touches everything. And listen, this isn't some hypothetical threat. It's already happened. Back in 2010, the Stuxnet virus didn't just hack a system. It physically tore apart Iranian nuclear centrifuges. Fast forward to 2021, and a ransomware gang shut down the Colonial Pipeline, leading to gas shortages all up and down the US East Coast. This stuff is happening now, and it has very real consequences. But the invisible war isn't just fought in server farms, it's also being fought for your attention, for your hearts and minds. Social media is now a full-blown front for propaganda and disinformation. But it can also be an incredible tool for inspiration. Just think about Ukrainian President Zelensky's selfie video from the streets of Kyiv at the start of the invasion. You know, that one act probably did more for his country's morale than 1,000 formal speeches could have. And then there's space, the ultimate high ground. Every GPS-guided weapon, every spy satellite photo, every single secure military communication depends on assets orbiting the Earth. Controlling space is no longer just an advantage, it's absolutely essential if you want to win a war down here. And this is where things get really wild. A major military operation was reportedly brought to a halt, not by an enemy army, not by a general, but by a single CEO, a private citizen, who apparently decided to deny access to his company's satellite network. This is a profound shift, putting huge geopolitical power into the hands of private companies and even individuals. Okay, so this brings us right to our next pillar. The weapons themselves are evolving. We're now seeing the rise of armaments that aren't just unbelievably fast, they're also starting to think. Let's start with this number, 300,000. That's the estimated number of drones that have been used in the Ukraine conflict alone. They've become the all-seeing eyes, the ears, and more the remote-controlled fists of a modern army. They just swarm over everything. And then you have the true game changers, hypersonic missiles. We're talking about weapons that travel at more than 25 times the speed of sound. They're specifically designed to be so fast and so maneuverable that no existing missile defense system can stop them. It is a terrifying leap forward in what's possible. Let's just put that speed into human terms, right? From the second a launch is detected, a country might have just 90 seconds to figure out if it's real and decide how to respond before it's too late. The total time from launch to impact can be as little as 3 minutes. There is zero room for error. Which leads us to a threshold that we've already crossed. In 2020, in Libya, something happened that many experts had been dreading. An autonomous drone, the Cargo 2, reportedly hunted down and attacked human targets all on its own, without a person making that final call. An AI made a kill decision. So that brings us to this absolutely terrifying and frankly unanswered question. If a fully autonomous drone kills someone, who's responsible? Is it the programmer who wrote the code, the company that built it, the commander who let it loose? The truth is, we are in a massive legal and ethical gray zone, and the technology isn't waiting for us to figure it out. All of this new tech and these new battlefields lead to our third pillar: the very idea of a soldier is changing. So who is it that's actually fighting these new wars? Well, the answer is getting more and more complicated. On the one hand, the official state soldier is basically becoming a networked super warrior. They've got gear like these augmented reality headsets, part of a massive multi-billion-dollar contract with Microsoft that overlays data, maps, and drone feeds directly onto their vision. It's like turning the battlefield into a real-life video game. But then you've got the other side of the coin, the rise of the private military contractor, a mercenary. Unlike a soldier, their loyalty isn't to a country, it's to a corporation and a paycheck. They often operate in the shadows, outside the normal rules of war, which gives the government that hired them plausible deniability. The most famous example, of course, is the Wagner Group. And these are not small-time operations. At its peak, the Wagner Group was a private army of up to 50,000 soldiers. They acted as a shadow force, pushing state interest in more than 30 countries across the globe. We're talking about a massive, deniable tool of foreign policy. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important pillar. It's so crucial to look past all the fancy technology and the cool new gadgets, because no matter how sophisticated the weapons get, the brutal, tragic human cost of war, that never changes. Look at this number for a second. 5.4 million. That is the estimated number of people who died in the Second Congo War, a conflict many people in the West have, well, they've barely even heard of it. It's sometimes called Africa's World War. And this chart really puts that number into a shocking context. The death toll in that one conflict is more than 5 times higher than the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. It's a powerful reminder that the deadliest conflicts aren't always the ones getting all the headlines, which completely shapes how we see the world. And all of this brings us back to the ultimate existential threat, the doomsday clock, which is the symbol scientists use to show how close we are to a global catastrophe, is the closest it has ever been to midnight. And for all our new tech, the old dangers are still here. In fact, many of the old safety nets from the Cold War, like direct hotlines between nuclear powers, they're gone. The risk of a terrible miscalculation is arguably higher now than ever before. Which leaves us with one final big thought to chew on. Technology is moving at a blistering pace, way faster than our laws, way faster than our ethics. It is actively rewriting the rules of war right before our eyes. And so the most critical question for every single one of us is this: as these new rules get written, who's going to be holding the pen?